Hello and welcome to another episode of Making Diablo clone in Common Lisp. And so today I'm still gonna be refactoring some stuff. So the last week I was in fact refactoring some stuff related to systems, to the entity component system. And yeah, so I think I finished that in that Friday. So yeah, I've committed all of the stuff. So now the systems are actually structs in my engine, and then I define a global instance of those using this global vars library. So this one kind of works. I'm kind of happy with that. So now I'm gonna be working on components and entities. Yeah, so the first thing that I wanted to do today was to... Alright, so in some places, for instance in player system, I got this entity and, well, some entities, like the bug entity, which is -1, which means that it is not a valid entity. It's like, well, the indication that there is no entity here. And yeah, and in some places I'm using nil for this, I mean the usual Common Lisp nil. So I think I want to refactor that to be a tiny bit more uniform, so that I have this constant which is for the invalid entity, and then the predicate function which tells whether this entity is valid or not. So I think I'm gonna start with that in systems. So I'm gonna define this in systems for now, then I'm gonna split it into different files. Alright, so I think I'm gonna place that somewhere here. Yeah, here would be good. So first of all, I'm gonna define a constant, I think, which will be like invalid entity. And that is gonna be, I don't know, for instance, -1. And then I'm gonna define a function, a predicate for that. So this would be kinda entity valid p. Yeah. So it will take an entity as parameter and just return whether. So it is valid if it is not negative. So I need not here, not -p. Come on. -p of entity. Right. I think for performance reasons I'm gonna define that, declaim that in line. So that is gonna be in line entity valid p. And what else? Yeah, and the type. So the type will be function which takes fixed null and returns boolean. This is going to be entity valid p. Alright, so I'm going to use that, well, first of all in player system, and then I think in other places. I think I'm gonna just go over all of the systems and check out whether I'm using that stuff or not. Right. So, okay. Where was I? Player system. Okay. So, is my Emacs stuck again? No, it's not. So in player system, so I'm gonna define this entity to be this invalid entity. I'm gonna compile that. Wait, what? Oh, fixed num. I've mistyped. Oh, okay. Right. So now I've got all those stuff. Okay, and I'm gonna Okay, what is last target? Is this also an entity? LISP, setup target, last target, that p. Okay, I'm using that p on that last target, which means it is an entity because that p takes an entity as parameter. Okay, so it will also go here, and obviously here in debug stuff. Okay. So what now? Okay, now I'm gonna replace -p with that predicate, that new predicate. So like if what? Wait a second. Can I go with when here? Because when actually returns nil when its condition is not true. Can I? Okay. Let me try. So if we go when entity wallet, entity then we return entity because it is valid, and in other case when we'll return nil. Okay, I think that will work. All right, and I think I also have -p somewhere here. Yeah. So if target, okay, so I'm gonna need to swap those if closes. So wait a second. Have indentation changed? Yeah, it did. Okay, let's go with that. So I'm gonna swap this if closes. So if -p last target, which means if not LP. Okay, so I'm gonna just replace it with entity valid p, and then put these clause here. Right. Wait a sec. All right. So, do I have -p anywhere else? -p, wait a sec. Do I have the sound on? I have this weird idea. I mean, in the stream. So. Yeah, I do. Okay, so where was I? -p. So if not -p, which exactly means that entity valid p last target. So I'm gonna remove this form, and yeah, I think this will do. Okay, so now here one -p entity return. That's interesting. That's like return from that block. Why would I have such a weird? Oh, that's because I want an early return, so that this entity. Maybe. Yeah. Okay, it's not worth changing that. So okay. Unless entity valid p, so it's not like when not entity valid. Wait a sec. Okay, so unless entity valid p event return. So is this equivalent? So I've changed -p to entity valid p, that's one not, and then I changed unless to when, that's another not. So not of not is like the same thing, right? So So I think this is right. Alright, so where else? And here. So minus p, blah blah blah. So yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna change just this if clause again. So if p, blah blah blah. So this goes here. And yeah, I think that's it. So maybe I will just try that changes. Okay, I'm gonna just restart Lisp. This will be easier. And I'm gonna quick load my engine and try the demo again, if that still works. Yeah, okay, so it did recompile the stuff. So now I'm gonna try if the player controlling is still working. Oh, I got 70 degree on my CPU. That's not very good. Okay, so okay, the movement kind of works. The attacking is also working. Okay, yeah, I think it's all still good. Yep, nice. Okay, so now I'm gonna go over other systems and change and do the similar changes. So alright, and I think I should search for something. Maybe I will just look for some entity fields in the systems, in that new macro dev system. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Now I got this entity, which obviously is an entity, and target, which is yeah, which also is an entity. And so idea, wait a second, the idea here in player entity is that it just returns nil when there is no active entity. But the idea, I think, here should be that I just return plain field from system and then check for nil in other places. I mean in call sites where I call player entity. I think this will simplify things a little bit. Alright, so I'm gonna change also that entity. Right. So this will be just plain how that will be called, player system entity of global player system. Right, so that's just it. And then I'm gonna search for places where I call player entity. And just okay. And that's quite a lot. I think no, that's not. So I'm just having this here. I'm gonna change. Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna check for these nil checks here. So entity or player entity, I'm gonna just search for that. Okay, so now I'm setting this here. Alright, now set that for entity. So okay, here we go. So with coordinate entity, which what is, oh, it's like with mocks. Oh yeah, okay. Not P, okay, player entity. Okay, here we go. So here we have one LUT. So this obviously should be changed to something different. Player, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so what I need here is just a plain LUT with these parentheses, and then I think I could shove that in that unless clause. So this would be like end valid entity P, and unless, no, that's the unless, so I think I should change that to 1, and 1, and so that will change to not that, and also with and. So if the entity is not that, and first of all, if it is, well, valid entity, so if entity valid P player entity, yeah, so I think this will do just fine. Okay, let's search for entity further. So here I have this variable. Yep. Okay. So here, wait, where are they? Oh yeah, I'm looking for the nil checks in that entity. So let's target. Okay, entity P. Alright. Equals entity player entity. Okay. Let entity. Alright. So okay, that last target. Alright, so I think this will do, but I'm also using player entity, player entity in different places of the code, so I think I should also change that. There are entries in mob system, in item system, so I've checked all the stuff in player system, and yeah, so I think I basically have these two. So let's start with the mob system. Alright, so here's the same idea, one let. So instead of that, I want the basic let. Then I'm gonna have to have some condition here. So something like when developed the player entity. Yeah, I think that's it. So are there any entity users here that the entity that's interesting. Can I move this further? I mean this condition, that P player entity. So if player is dead before this loop, he will be dead through this loop. So I think maybe I should put that condition a bit upwards. So okay, what does it even mean? So unless unless the mob is dead or the player is dead. Unless. So that means like when the player is not dead and the entity is not dead. Yeah, I think I can move that above. Maybe. Okay. Yeah, maybe I even should put that into that one clause. So yeah, well, let's try. So that forward. This will go here. So when the player entity is valid and it's not dead, and the player is not dead. So then we start all of this loop stuff. So we convert the coordinates. Oh yeah, we just save the coordinates in these variables. X. Wait, this is weird. So yeah, I remember I was writing this piece of code like before the game jam was ending, like the one day before. I mean, this was initial game for the LISP game jam 2020. So I think I may have been a bit sleepy when I was writing this code. So I think this is kind of awkward because I can change that. Yeah, I definitely can change that. I can just go with coordinate player entity, and then in bindings I can just set player X and player Y. That's just it. I shouldn't go with that creepy stuff. I think that will just do player X and player Y. Yeah. Okay. So this one's good, and extra parentheses. Okay, I think that's it. Right, and the another usage of player entity was in item system, I reckon, yeah. So let's see what's here. So player entity. Drop item. Yeah, that's kinda tricky, but okay. I think right now the entity, I mean the items are only dropped when the player is alive and kicking. So I think yeah, I can move that. And anyway, I will be rewriting this whole item system quite soon because, well, you have to have these items in your inventory, and that means you have to have the UI for the inventory. So I'm gonna be rewriting that someday soon. Okay, so the player entity. Do I have that also? Okay. So pickup item is also called only when the player is alive. So we are good here, and yeah, I think so I think that's basically it. Okay, so there is the next one. Item system in character moved. That's also tricky because then again, sometimes. Oh yeah, so the player entity is initialized just when the player system is loaded somewhere here. Yeah. Oh yeah, in my component. So that is called when the new game started. So I think I'm kinda good here because this handler. Oh yeah, and anyway, it just could be -1, and this all will be good. Okay. So where is next? Here. Okay, the same thing. So well, first of all, I'm gonna remove my cache for the fossil files. Yep, and then just restart and recompile that, just to be on the safe side. Yeah, so this gonna take a couple of extra seconds, but this way I'm gonna be sure that the new version of code is in place. Alright. Yeah, and one of the things that I wanted to do just in the near future is the loading screen, because well, the loading takes forever right now. The loading screen would be nice. Okay, so what am I testing? I'm testing whether the mob is following me. Yeah, and I'm testing the item drop. Okay, so let's see. Okay, it didn't drop anything. Let's try again. Okay, so now it dropped something, and can I pick this up? Yeah, I can pick this up, and this health potion actually works. So yeah, I think I actually haven't broken anything. Maybe. can you drop some weapon, please? Come on, RNG, be nice to me. Crap. So I wanted to drop some weapon so I can test whether this pickup function still works correctly. Come on. Just drop some dagger, goddammit. Come on, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, okay, this will do. And come on. Alright, so this still works. So she picks up a sword, the sprite changes, so everything kinda works here, I guess. Alright, so right, so I was starting to go on just the list of systems, so I'm gonna start again with camera. Is that the first? Yeah, that's the first system alphabetically. So here again I want to change this nil to just this -1, which is like the constant invalid entity, and then I want to replace any null checks with this predicate call valid entity p. Alright, so I'm gonna start with the constant valid entity, and here, so the type would obviously be different. Okay, so now I'm gonna see, right, the component, I'm gonna have to be very accurate here. Yes, the entity, the camera entity, so it just returns it plain. Right, so I think I'm gonna see if let somewhere here. For sure, like knowing myself, I'm gonna see if let or one let somewhere. Okay. Okay, yeah, here we go. One let camera entity. Alright, so I need to change that. So this is gonna be again a plain let, and then when entity valid p this camera entity, I'm gonna do just that. Okay, so that's the one. So these are the conversion functions. They don't have the null checks, so I don't have to replace those. Okay, visible. That's the same with this. The same. So system update. Yeah, here we go. One let again. Now, come to think of it, maybe I should have some macro for that, or would that be an overkill? Yeah, I think this might be a little overkill. So the sense of this macro would be to have just the entity binding, but only if it is valid. No, that's overkill. I'm gonna just keep just one let and one when. So when entity valid p target, here we go. Okay. So okay, am I calling any of those functions, namely camera entity and camera target, somewhere else? So let's see. Camera, come on, camera entity. So no, I'm only calling this here in camera system. Okay, let's look for camera target. Yeah, camera target. So okay, I'm using this in player system, but only to set it set effort to the actual player entity. Okay, so this will do, I think. Right, I'm gonna just restart again, just to be sure if that nothing is broken. So again, the compilation takes an extra couple of seconds, but that's fine. Alright, so let's see if that still works. The camera. So now I'm testing if everything is okay with camera. Oh, come on, this is so frustrating. This long loading times. Okay, so the camera still works, so it follows the player, and that's exactly how it should be. Okay. So let's see further. Character system. So here there are no entities, but here in dev component there is the bug entity. Alright, that's also the case for my refactoring. So here should be invalid entity. That's basically the same. And then backpath. So okay, let's see. Character. Start. Okay, that's only again when the backpath is home. Well, I'm thinking that maybe instead of calling this macro, which ultimately just calls the Allegro function to get some config value, which under the hood does, I think, binary search for that config option. Maybe instead of this, I can just check whether this debug entity is non-negative. This would be a bit faster, I think. But then again, the logic is kinda only if we have debug entity, then we kinda draw some stuff using it. Okay, I think that's fine. So okay. So here, yeah. So I'm gonna replace that. Okay, what am I getting this debug entity from? With characters. Oh, with characters. Okay, so that's the full loop. Oh, yeah, this wouldn't be any faster because every component every entity have its own component with its own debug entity stuff. So as a matter of fact, it's basically faster to do this, to call this configuration getter once and then just have this loop, or don't have it at all, instead of checking this stuff on every loop configuration. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that be. So what have I changed? I think I only changed that. Yeah, only the constant. That's basically the same. Okay, let's go further. So character system, now collision system. And yeah, here I also have a debug entity. So I'm gonna replace that with debug entity, and yeah, let's see where I'm using that with system slots. Yeah, so then again, I'm having this macro for config here, and what am I doing then with system slots? Yeah, okay, so I think here I can actually pull this off. I can replace that, so I can remove this whatsoever and have this system slot debug entity, and then only do that if the debug entity is valid. So when entity valid p is valid p of our debug entity. Yeah, I think that's the one. I don't think this. So okay, I'm gonna make extra parentheses. So I'm gonna again remove the cache, recompile that stuff, and I think I'm gonna have to check this with both debug on and off. So alright. So now the debug is on, and we should look the same. Wait a sec. So this is collision system. Okay, so this draws this collision marks stuff. The blue one. Oh, what's that? Collisions. Oh, I need this anyway here. I need debug collisions because also being non-null, it is the list with the color values. So I need to call this config function anyway. Yeah, right. And okay, so I think I'm gonna just leave it as it was, I think. Oops. Oh. Yeah. So let's see. Oh man, that's so frustrating, this loading times. Okay. Alright, so now it works. Yeah, now it works. Because, well, I haven't changed anything. I've changed it back. Alright, so let's go further. Let's go with combat system. Alright, so here again I have some target, which I think should be an entity. Yeah, it's... I think it is an entity. Yeah, it definitely is. So first of all, replace this with constant, and again I'm gonna check where it is used. So combat entity target. Why am I? Oh, yeah, alright. So target sysf target. Okay, right. So here I have -p, and obviously this should be replaced with that predicate I just made earlier. So -p means not valid. Entity valid p target. So yeah. Oops. Alright, so that was a combat system. Okay. So the target. Where am I using that also? So target setup. Okay, so here I obviously should replace -1 with invalid entity, and what else? Oh, here. So not -p, which basically is that entity valid p. Wait, what was that? I forgot. Target. Target. So again, HP, set HP target, switch stance, combat. Oh yeah, target. Okay, so this obviously should be this constant, and here, yeah, for this. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have to recompile this stuff again. And check if combat still works. So first of all, if the player's character could be bitten, and there it goes. So yeah, it obviously could be bitten, and then yeah, so I can attack this mob too. Right. I think the only thing missing here is that Benny Hill music. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, they killing also works. Is it though? Yeah. Okay. So I'm done with combat system. So let's go further. Combat system, now coordinate system. I don't think I have any entities here. Yes, I only have the coordinates, obviously. Okay, I think I should translate this comment. Right, so no entities here. Yeah, and hence no null checks. Yeah, I think so. So the next one is credit system. Wait a second, I think I had something about the player existing in the main file b2clone kit here. The hack, yeah, that one. So this should also be changed, player system entity. So this should be entity valid p of this entity. Yeah, that's some refactoring for me. Alright, so not minus p, this stuff. Okay. Yeah. So I was here, credits system. Yeah, and again I have -1 here. I have this stuff, by the way, in a lot of places. So that's interesting. Alright, so UI entity. So I'm calling here self string. Wait a sec, where am I initializing? Oh yeah, here. And so initialize is called after the wait. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. So the next one, the next system would be just credits, then yeah, the b2clone kit. So I don't think I'm using -p here anywhere yet. No, I'm not. And yeah, I think that was the only change here I needed to make. So the next one is debug system. Yeah, so I think I'm also not having entities here, at least entity null checks. So yeah, I'm only modifying those entities here, and yeah, I'm not having any invalid entities right here. Okay, so the next one would be, okay, I'm gonna just quickly look at event loop. Yeah, obviously not any entities here. And events. Yeah, so I think the Shinmero's deeds library, which I'm using for events, is kinda cool, but I think this might be a bit overkill for my engine because, well, deeds uses like full-blown clause, I mean common Lisp object system, and this could be kinda not very performant. So I think at some point I'm going to have to replace it with with very simple event system of my own, based on some structures and stuff. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so the next thing to look will be HP system. and I don't think I have to do anything here either. Yeah. So the next one would be item system. Have I already gone over? No, I haven't. So, is there any entities here which can be invalid? So item, okay. Make components, system. Good. Okay. Type. List. Type. Okay. All right. So any no checks here for entities? Owner. Owner entity. So. Okay, okay, so here we have a player entity, but again, player entity will always be valid when picking some items up, because, well, the player is picking those items up. Yeah. So I don't think I have to change something here either. Okay, so the next one will be after item system, the mana system. And that's very basic, it doesn't have any of this here. So, okay. Well, it does, but they couldn't be invalid. So, the next one is map system, and that one is the large one. But then again, I don't think I have. Okay, I have the debug entity, which initially is invalid here. And yeah, we have our entity. Map tile set. Okay. Batches. Okay, entity. Yeah, debug grid. So that, yeah, correct. So where am I using that debug entity? Okay, here we go. One debug grid. Okay, so here's the same idea. I can't replace this check. Or can I? This one is loop. Okay, and this is finally close in the loop. And this loop is run for what? It's run for every map chunk, and it's run through the tiles. Okay. So yeah, the same thing. I can't. Yeah, so I'm calling this. I'm having this debug grid here in the very beginning. So I'm calling this Allegro function to get the config only once. And that's, yeah, okay, that is performing, so there is no problem here. Okay, so I think that's that. So next one is menu system, and here okay, wait a second. In credit system, which is like basically the same or almost the same as the menu system, I had this UI entity as this fixnum, and well, initially invalid. And here I'm having nil. That's not quite nice. So I think I want to do the same thing here and have the actual type of fixnum. So what will change because of that? So, I don't think that it will change things much, because I am basically setting this UI entity at system initialization, and this happens quite early. So I think this will do. Okay, I'm gonna try and recompile all of that once again to see if I haven't broken anything. Okay, so let's see. It's not crashed yet, so that's good, I think. Yeah, okay, so I have the main menu, it still works, I have credits. Let's start a new game. Yeah, it all still works. So I can have credits here, I can continue, yeah, everything still works. Let's Is my Emacs hung again? Yeah, I think it kinda is. Yeah, I think that's again because of that plugin called Garbage Collector Magic Hack. Probably. Okay, I'm gonna try. That's awkward. So maybe I can just send user1 to my Emacs. Or was it user2? Okay, it was user2. Thank you very much. So, where was I? Yeah, I've changed this stuff, nothing has broken. Yeah, and I wanted to just quickly launch the demo again in the very same Lisp image, just to see if nothing broken on that side. Okay, obviously nothing is broken, so that's good. Alright, so the next system to refactor after menu system would be mob system. Main component. Okay, so I don't think I have any null checks here, but yes, I have a def check here for the mob. Yeah, and obviously it shouldn't act if it's dead, so well. Oh, I already have some stuff here. Yeah, I did just 10 minutes ago. Okay, so the next one after the mob system would be the player system, which I think I already went through. Yeah, I did. So I don't have any -3 here. Yeah. Okay, so the next one after player system would be sound system. Yeah, I don't think I have. Okay, first of all, do I have any -p? No, I don't. And do I have any manipulation with entities which involve null checks? Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, and after the sound system, the next one would be sprite batch and sprite after that. Oh, okay. So, in sprite batch, I reckon I was having some sort of entity stuff. Yeah, but obviously I don't have anything suspicious here. Okay, so the next one is sprite, just plain sprite system. And okay, so here we have debug entity, which I also should replace with valid entity. And here debug sprite. So then again, I think I'm calling that in the loop. Yeah, I do. So I'm gonna have to just leave it like this. And yeah, I think that's that. Do I have any -p checks? Okay. Oh, wait a sec. Right, unless minus p. Why am I even having this? Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, I should replace that with parent-child relationship that I wanted to implement for entities. Okay, so I think here it is. I can replace that. So unless it goes to 1, so 1 entity valid p. Okay. And okay, so the next system to refactor would be after right system, just UI system. Okay, let's see. All function parameters. Yes, I don't think I should change anything here. Yeah, I think I'm good. Right. So that's it. I think I probably will commit that. Wow, that's a lot. Oh yeah, the documentation. I always forget about that. So I should document some of the stuff. By the way, how can I even document the def constant? Well, documentation, I can. And that's just a string. That's nice. So that is the, how do I put it? Value for the invalid entity. Well, that's kinda obvious. Okay, I'm gonna just leave it like that. And I'm gonna document this predict. So it returns true if entity is valid. That's it. And I think I'm gonna have to export all of those in a package. That was, oh, okay. I shouldn't have killed Emacs with user 2. Alright, with package. So in package, this goes in system after delete entity. So somewhere here. Okay. So this constant and entity valid p. Right. So I think I'm gonna try and recompile all of the system last time, just to see if everything's okay. Yeah, I think nothing's crashed yet, so I think that's kind of okay. Yeah. Maybe I should close some of my programs so that my processor is not boiling hot. This and this. Yeah. Alright, where was I? So I was going to commit this stuff. So, camera system, so I replace that, system update, so instead of, yeah, I'm always kind of going through my commit changes kinda very rigorously, not to miss something or like that. So, where was I? Let's have changed. Yeah, system update. Okay. So this goes in. This also goes in. Yeah, this looks kind of obvious. This is not. So instead of minus target, we have not developed. So that develop entity. Again.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. Yeah, okay. This will work too. Or maybe not. I'm gonna comment that later. So let's do this. Yeah, that one is kinda new. I was experimenting with full screen mode and it works terribly, I might say. I will need to work on that too. So I'm gonna only need this. So this is also this. Okay, this one is not that obvious. So we're happy. So I've changed. Yeah, I've replaced this ugly multiple volume bind with just with coordinate macro. That was in system update format system. Okay, maybe I should. Come on, is it stuck again? It is stuck again. Crap. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I was going to maybe try that with the actual game. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, so I'm gonna put that into stash just for now. Yes, here I'm gonna waste stuff. Changed. I've made that simpler. Waste this entity value check. Yeah. And then last target when the same change. I've swapped the if closes. Right. So I think was more of it. Here, okay. And the system's there. So am I missing something? I don't think so. Okay, I'm gonna just quickly try and I also gonna have to remove my cache here and just quickly build the game. I'm gonna just quickly play it through to see if, well, it is still playable. Okay, so this compiles. Good. So, okay. All right. So I'm gonna try to play that. At least for a little bit. Alright, so this looks a bit different. So let's see. Yeah, probably I should have left that health potion for later. Okay, anyway. I'm going to just quickly kill first some monsters. Come on guys, drop some weapon, would you? Okay, thank you very much. So I'm just trying to kill this one. Yep, okay. So this one is behind the house. Okay, so I think it all kinda works still. So yeah, I think I'm good. Yeah, the game still works. So yeah, I'm gonna just okay. So I'm gonna just commit all of that stuff. Yeah, the changelog. I'm always forgetting that. So what have I done? It's not kind of big change, probably, to put into the changelog. Is it though? Yeah, I don't think I will put that here. So I'm gonna just write it here in the message. So what have I done? I've so I've implemented a predicate to check for load entities. Check if the entities load. Alright, mount predicate, check if the entities load. No, that's actually a bit bigger. I've refactored a way to check for invalid entities. It's not even a way to check, it's like a default invalid entities. Yeah, kinda that. Kinda like that. Yeah, maybe I should put that into the changelog. So this goes to changed, obviously. So mechanics, let's call it like that. Mechanics. Yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna change what this goes into the commit. And yeah, node entities, node entity mechanics. Alright, so I'm gonna just quickly glance over the commit diff again, just to make sure everything's fine. Yeah, I think that's good. Alright, so I was also going to make some other refactorings, yeah, in systems. So the idea here was to actually split that file to several different files because, well, it's 300 lines, it's not that big, but still that's big. So I'm gonna put some stuff that's related to components into the file, components.lisp, and some stuff related to entities to the file, well, entities.lisp. Yeah. Okay, so I think it's time for some carbohydrates. Right. So I think I'm gonna start with what? Maybe with components. So first I'm gonna do this, and then yeah, let's just search for components. So that's okay. So I'm gonna move this stuff. Yeah, that's good that I was implementing that like this in large conceptual chunks. So here we go. Yeah. So then here we have the entity, and maybe I should. Yeah, I'm gonna just open this new file for entities. This word just sounds funny. Alright. So here delete. Oh yeah, make it. Entity is valid component entity, then make object. Where should I put make object? Probably I'm gonna just leave it here in systems. So okay, here we go. And then dev component. These obviously should go in components.list. Yeah, that's my big hideous macro. And the prefab stuff. Or maybe also in separate file. I don't know. I'm gonna put this macro in components. No, just where's the file? Oh yeah, I haven't saved it yet. Okay, so I'm gonna just save. Okay, so this is it. So in systems, where should I put the prefab stuff? The prefab is kinda the thing that I'm using as a template to make new components. So probably this should go to components.lisp. So let's see, entities, that's not that much, and in components, a bit bigger. Yeah, maybe I should just, for the sake of clarity, put a separate file. Prefabs.list. Second systems. I'm gonna take all that stuff and put it there. Yep, here we go. So now, yeah, let's just quickly glance over those. Okay, so I'm gonna put all of those into the ASD file. Maybe after the systems. So after the systems goes components, probably. Yeah. After that goes entities. And after that, prefabs. So in package file, I'm move those to the corresponding files. So yeah, they are sorted alphabetically here. So now I'm having the components that goes components before the combat, after the combat, before config. Yeah. So, what goes in components? So I'm gonna just copy that here from systems. So I've taken, what have I taken? Okay. So I've taken the make component and the root component. Yeah, these three. Here and entity, yeah, this one. So I've taken this here. So let's check it out. Components. Oh, yeah, and also these generics. So I've taken my component and the system adjust. Wait a second, I'm not even exporting that. Write it then, and then delete component. Yeah, has component P and dev component, and that's it. Okay. also have now the entity that is entities. And it is here. So this one is that works. And in entities we have make entity delete and develop entity LISP, and yeah, that's it, I think. So this is it. Okay, let's check it out. Make entity delete entity build entity and entity LISP. Yeah, and I now have the prefabs. That's here. So, and in prefabs I have this stuff left here. Yes. So let's check it out. So generic prefab path, make prefab, reload prefabs, make prefab. I'm not exporting. Oh, that's the around method. Okay, make prefab component and that prefab. Okay, so that's it too. So okay, I think I'm gonna again remove and recompile all of the stuff. And maybe even try to build the commutation to see if that still works. Okay, so the demo is still working. That's good news. Yeah, that's debug I'm going to tackle a bit later. Okay, so what's also to do here? Yeah, maybe I'm gonna just try to compile the actual game again to see if that still works. Okay, so the Emacs is giving me crap again. Okay. So it compiled, that's nice. Does it start? Yeah, it starts. So I guess that's all. Yeah, thank you very much. Alright, the game still works. Okay, so I think I'm gonna just commit that stuff here. Am I missing something here? Okay, in systems. Oh yeah, this stuff about entities allocated and entities count. These two are systems. Or maybe just leave it here for now. I'm gonna be changing it anyway. So yeah, I think I'm okay with that. So systems, all that stuff. Yeah. So by the way, now it is just 170 lines. So that's better. Okay, so I'm commenting this. I'm commenting those. Oh yeah, the documentation. I was going to try and build my documentation. So I'm gonna have to remove the cache again and just call doc.list.
Yay! So I'm gonna try and open that. Yeah, here we go. So, oh, and by the way, the dark theme is not working here. So anyway, that's that. So I think I have. Okay, let's search for this new predicate entity wallet. Yeah, here we go. Let's show it entity wallet. Let's search for pilot again. And here's that constant. Yeah, I think that's good. So yeah, commit that. Not committing that. I'm not committing that yet. But I'm committing that. And obviously the files. I always forget to commit the new files. Yeah. So where was I? Components, entities. Let's change package. So yeah. I refactor it. Entities. Should I put it to changelog? No, I don't think so. That's quite a tiny change. So I'm gonna just quickly pick over the commit diff. I wonder if there are any side effects going from the fact that I might be defining some stuff or using some stuff before defining it. I'm gonna hope it's all good. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So we can answer that. And yeah. So the next change I was going to do to the code base, well, in terms of refactoring, was to actually change how components are handled. So right now, the components are actually made by this hideous macro. Yeah, I even have this to do comment. So it's kind of working and it's kind of okay, but the thing is that I'm defining this SOA, structure of arrays stuff for components, and this works, but there's always but sometimes I do remove some components, and because of that this array, which is kind of continuous, becomes well, there are some holes in that array, some components that got deleted, and to well go through, well, I mean over those holes, I am just checking all of the fields for that components for nil, and that's bad for two reasons. Well, first of all, I have to check, well, I mean, when going with some macros like those with something like with, I don't know, with mobs, or I don't know, with combats or with items. In these macros, I'm going through all of those things, and I'm checking those for nils. So if there are a lot of
fields in the component, there will be a lot of well, actually extra milk checks. So that's not good performance-wise. And the second bad thing about that is that well, actually I can't have a nil as the component field. So I actually have the comment somewhere here. I reckon in the UI system. Yeah, so I have this boolean which just says if this window on or off, and it actually breaks the ECS, because when I'm setting this to nil, it kind of becomes well, this component kind of becomes invisible, because I'm considering it non-existent when I'm looping through that. So that's the problem. And to solve that, well, I wanted to solve that with the obvious thing, which is sparse array. So I think I'm already using sparse matrix for collision system. And here I think I should use sparse array. Yeah. So there would be some complications, because, well, I'm having this structure of array thing, and I'm having one array for any component field, which means that I'm going to have these arrays kind of synchronized. So that means if I remove some component, I want to remove that entity from every array. And yeah, that's kind of... So for that, yeah, I've started implementing this sparse array. I haven't gotten any far yet, but still, I've started. So the idea was to have some index, which is like a parent thing for several arrays. And this index kind of keeps, well, the indices that are still valid in this array. So yeah, I think I can... I was going to draw some stuff, but I think I kind of have this all in my mind right now. So here in components, I would have to go a bit different. Yeah, and by the way, I also wanted to have to use this sparse array in some different place, namely in the collision. Oh no, not collision. In what? In sprite batch. So I was going to use this sparse array as sprite batch storage. For some reason, how I was going to pull that off? Wait a second, I'm gonna look in my internal bug tracker. Yeah, I just have a comment that I can use it in sprite batch. Yeah, sprite batch. So what it says here. Okay, so the plan for the sprite batch was to store a single machine word in priority queue, splitting it into priority and index in some growable array, perhaps using structure of arrays. Wait, what? Yeah, so there was also a parallel idea to use some macro to define this struct of array thing. But I think this is kinda unrelated. Yeah, I'm gonna just start with something and then maybe change something later. So, okay, first of all, how I'm gonna make this index work. So, am I storing the indices? Okay, I think I'm gonna need to draw some stuff. So I've installed my paint yesterday and found out that it's kind of a cool tool, except that you can't write any text, but well, you can always use your handwriting. So yeah. So the idea is that I have some actual array. Oh yeah, my handwriting is terrible, by the way. So I have some array, some actual storage. Yeah, and here it is always filled to some index. It's kinda, maybe I can even use here this growable array thing of mine. Yeah. So here are some elements. Some element here, something, some stuff, and I will have some sort of like what, a fill pointer. Again, it's either the standard common Lisp, how it is called, the vector with the adjustable vector. So it's either that or my growable array. Fill pointer. We'll go just with ptr. And then also, yeah, and those arrays are all for different fields. So if I have some, well, so if I have some field 1, it corresponds to array 1. Then I have some field 2, and it corresponds to array 2. And it also looks the same, maybe even more. No, probably it also had the same size as this one. So these arrays are all kind of siblings. So this fill pointer also relates to that. And yeah, I have some elements here. So they are maybe of different type, because, well, this field can have different type. And so because of that, these arrays would be probably a bit more performant when SBCL, for instance, can see that it can store some stuff packed. So yeah, and I'm gonna have to have some kind of master array or index array. So the index. Oh yeah, and the idea was that, so I'm gonna have to optimize some operations on that data structure. So I have the index. I have the index. And I think the idea here is that this index could be very large. It actually have the number of elements that is it actually have the count of elements that's equal to entities count. Is that? Yeah, it is kinda. I think this will work. Yeah. So this one is, it's terrible arrow. So this is entities count. So entities in my engine are just the integers, and because of that, I can get any component of any entity and any field of any entity with that data structure quite efficiently, because if I have entity which is equals like I don't know 3. I'm gonna just have to look up here. It's well of 1, and it's well basically just pointer arithmetic. And this index probably it will be an array of fixed num. I'm gonna write it somewhere here. Array of fixed num. Okay. So, and by looking into this master index array, I will have some actual index in those arrays. So for instance, it would be 4, or I mean 3, but okay, let's go with 2. No, let's go with 1. So 1 counting from 0 will mean that you have to go here and well also here to get some fields from the component. So it means that any lookup of any field by the given entity is just one lookup in array here and the second lookup here. So it's just 2 lookups instead of 1. Well, and some elements can contain like -1, for instance, and that would be the condition that there is no such component. Yeah, so this relates to the one component. My handwriting is just terrible. Component. Jesus Christ. Okay. So I mean all of this stuff is one component. And maybe some more fields. So here in some other fields are -1, -1, and then in some fields there are different indexes, like indices, is that the word? Something like 3, 2, etc. and -1 in all of the other stuff. And I think, yeah, I also had this idea about child-parent relationship for entities, but I think this will go to some different. Yeah, that's different mechanic. All right. So that's the idea. So what I'm having here is the indices is like that first array. Index. I spelled that. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, and actual arrays which I'm having here as a list. Is that a good idea? Probably. I'm probably. And also some schizophrenic comment here, like indices global vector need to indicate absence, so array index makes no sense. Single vector is okay for array index. Indicate absence. So yeah, for absence I think -1 will go just perfect. Array index makes no sense. Yeah, exactly. So instead of array index, this would be just fixed num. Right. Simple array of fixed num. But the thing is that this array would grow over time. So the simple array wouldn't do. So this growable vector, I've called it. So this one is just like the simple vector, so to access it there is just a pointer arithmetic instead of calling that function how it was written SBCL hairy vector data ref. So yeah, instead of doing hairy stuff, I'm just reliant on the pointer arithmetic and the power of that. And so it this thing is kind of grown manually, so it has some sort of fill pointer again. Yeah. So right, so it is sample vector. So anyway, yeah, I think we fix now for that. Okay. So, growable vector. Yeah, I think it should be a growable vector actually. So, this is wait, why am I even calling that sparse array index? Oh, that's because it will have maybe having all the arrays as a list is a good idea even. So should they all be also growable? Yeah, I think so. And so yeah, the adding a new component here will mean, yeah, I'm gonna have to store this fill pointer somewhere. Somewhere in the structure here. Yeah, okay. So where was I? The new and the type would be growable, I guess. Okay. Yeah. And then the actual arrays, and also I'm gonna put it here, the actual fill pointer. I mean, it's not actual fill pointer, it's like a count. Yeah, kind of count. So this fill pointer, this count, it could be less than this entities count. And so these indices, I mean these sparse array index instances, those indices, they should grow every time a new entity added. Yeah, so the new entities are basically added there. Okay. Yeah. Alright, so how I'm gonna call this fill pointer? God, I'm so bad with naming. Is it a fill pointer though? Does it point to a place where they are filled? It kinda does. It's not like the count of the elements here, because the count of that indices could be, I mean, almost always would be more than this. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna just call it fill pointer for now. How am I calling? Yeah, size and initial element. Size. Is it size? So it is actually the count of elements that are stored. Close that. Count of elements that are stored in those underlying arrays. Yeah. Okay, maybe I'm gonna just call that count. Yeah, so it's 0 and type array index. Yeah, array. Come on, array length index. What's the difference? Yeah, I think there's no difference. Yeah, they all are just fixed the number from integer to this length. Array length. So, and then the arrays themselves. So, for make entity, sparse array index grow. So the instance, and then do we have the size? I think we do. I mean, that all depends on the growable vector itself. So do I have the function to grow it? Yeah, growable vector grow. And yeah, I have new allocated size. So yeah. New size. And the implementation is also gonna be trivial. I mean, I'm gonna just call this global vector or the okay, I'm gonna compile that stuff. Sparse array index indices. Called sparse array index. So I'm gonna grow that to the new allocated size. And that's it. Yeah, that's kind of trivial. And also, by the way, I think I should put those declarations here. Yeah, they are basically the same. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, for make entity, I obviously will call that in make entity. Grow. Yeah. So it's basically just a wrapper around just array. Okay, so we got that. Wait, what's that? Why it is an original code? You derived type of sparse array index is values probable or optional. Conflict with this certain type sparse array index. I beg my pardon. Sparse array index indices. Oh, sparse array. Oh, yeah, that's because I've got this declaration screwed. It's not a global vector as the first argument, it's this sparse array index. Yeah, now it's all good, right? Yeah, right. So, for with component sparse array index ref subscript. It's not a subscript per se, it's like just index. Wait a sec. So the idea to have here all of those arrays as the list, I'm just having those here just to grow them as needed. So it's not like I'm accessing the elements of those arrays through that index. I'm having those arrays somewhere else. So this function will just return the index, I mean this index, or just -1. I mean this 1 or this 0 or this -1. And this one. Okay. I think I will have to have some sort of wrapper for that. So do I actually need to access this low level index here? I don't think so. I think this ref function should return where this element inside this array. And for that I should pass that array here. And here I also will return nil if there is no such element. Yeah. Oh, wait a sec. And in constructor I'm gonna have to put some sort of -1 or kinda like invalid index. Invalid index input -1 to initial element of indexes global array. No, global vector. Right. So because of that, after growing, those extra indices would be just -1, just the invalid indices. Right. So here, when referencing that, I'm gonna do access index. Yeah. So so I'm gonna have this actual internal index. Yeah, maybe I should change that to a subscript. So the index would be the ref of the sparse array index indices of that sparse array index of that one. And yeah, that's the index. So I think maybe I should have a predicate here too. So okay, maybe I will just quickly do one. But I think I'm gonna just use that only inside of all those functions, not even all of those. Yeah, I'm gonna just start with -p. So if that index is -p, it means that there is no such element, and I'm gonna just return nil. This reminds me of something. This reminds me that I can use unless it is negative, we can use that index. And in other case, unless will just return nil nicely. So unless it is negative, we go to that array, and that array will be, what will that be? Yeah, I think this also will be global array. Global vector, yeah, I'm always forgetting the name of that thing that I make. So, so unless it is negative, what do we do? We access again this global vector, but the different global vector. Now actually this array with the one. Where's my so second one is index, so we use this very index, and that's the return value of the function. So here we go. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. So I'm gonna do some declarations here. So for this, first of all, line, and secondly, type. So the first argument is sparse array index. The second one is global array, global vector, yeah. And the third one is just subscript, which is just array index, yeah, just array index. The thing is that I'm going to be using fixed num here as the entity. Okay, I'm gonna deal with that later. So it can return anything, so I'm not specifying here. And so that's the sparse array index graph. Oh, and I also need setter. Yeah, setup. I already have it here. So yeah, I also will have it right here. So here we go. So I'm gonna try and compile that. Oops, let's try again. Unfortunately, I don't know that. Where is... Oh, ref on this one. Yeah, what's left? Oh, sparse array index indices and that, and I missed the subscript. Yeah, here we go. So then the setter and the traverse function. And what is that crap? Hash, yeah, I was going to use a hash. That's not a very good idea. Yeah, not the best one. I think this array is kind of more friendly to the CPU cache. I think it might be. Yeah. So I'm gonna just quickly peek at the disassembly. I'm just interested about what have I done here. So this one is grow function. It calls just and yeah, that's good. So then again, it's just the thin wrapper around just array, and this one, the ref function, it's kind of quite important. Yeah, that's a bit bigger. Why generic less crap? Ow. And generic less is here, I guess, because of global ref. So let's let's go here. Let's just look at global ref disassembly. No, that's actually nicer. Why it is using here the generic less? That's not very good. Oh, minus p index. Okay, an index. Oh yeah, the idea is that I should use here the fixed num. Yeah. It's num. Yeah, it's num. nicer like that. Yeah. This subscript. So let's see again. Okay, now that's better. I wonder what is that. Oh, it just compares that with some value to determine if that's negative. So yeah, basically those are just two pointer arithmetic tricks here and here. And then again some... Oh yeah, it contains some branching here to check if this is negative. And why is that jump here? Oh yeah, that's some safety checks. Okay, and that one, yeah, it's also safety check. There is a lot of safety checks here. Okay, so I think that one is good. So the set F will be array. So what that will mean? The set F with some index. So the situation where we set F in some element which already exists, like this one, is kinda obvious. But then again, what happens if we access like -1? Does it mean that we have to create an element here? That's kind of hard. I mean, come on. So, I mean, where am I even gonna be using that? Make component. Make component. Well, yes, but actually no. I mean. So anyway, I'm gonna need some function to add some meaningful indices here, and probably setF is the nice place for that. Well, I'm gonna set this to some values anyway, like in make component actually, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna think about that a bit later. So the reverse function, lambda index. I think something is missing here. Condition, but so list of inline rights with the columns equivalent. That's the idea. Oh, and by the way, if at some point I want to remove, like for instance this, like the whole component, this means that I would have to move those elements so that they are still like cache friendly. They are just continuous chunk of data. So to remove, I'm gonna have to call some sort of, well, I reckon there was some function for that, replace or something in common Lisp. But the idea is that the complexity of that operation of component removal would be O of n, I mean O of count of that components. And that's not very good. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, do I have something about removal in global array? No, I don't have anything like that. clear, I have add and setf, and nothing besides that. And grow, but grow is kind for growing. Yeah. So okay, maybe the component removal is not that frequent operation, but still there is the problem that the removal is would be so slow. So then again, what operations I also need? So the access I've done here in sparsely index graph. Then I need addition of a new component and removal. Wait a sec. Grow. Okay, so this grow is just for those indices, and then the actual like changing size. Oh man, that's hard. So do I need the operation, I mean the function, to grow those arrays one by one? I mean just by one element, new element, or just by some large amounts? I mean those are growable vectors, so that means that they have some capacity. Okay. And by the way, do I need something about growing in setup and global vector setup? Yeah, I think I do here. Yeah, if I make this greater than allocated size. Okay, that's helpful. So it means that I always have some extra space here, and when I don't, and I'm trying to set up something here, it just grows more. I think I used some growth factor here. Did I? Here in setup. Yeah, array growth factor. And this growth factor is, yeah, just the golden ratio. So, alright. This kinda fits at all. So if I call setup, those underlying rates will grow automatically. But oh, okay. Alright, so here in setup, I'm gonna just outline the logic. So in setup, if subscript, okay, so if we get -1 from indices, okay, first of all, if we get positive index, index from indices, just use it for access. But then again, if we get -1 from indices, then what? It means that we don't have this component yet at all. And this means that we have to use this field pointer thing, this count field. Use count. Use that count for setting this growable vector, like for set f in this growable vector with this count. Yeah. Use index. And by the way, I need to do that for all of the arrays, so that they are grown simultaneously. And they have synchronized this capacity and stuff. Yeah. So use the array with count index for all arrays. And I mean, I'm gonna set this value for just one array, but then for all of the other arrays I'm gonna just set some value like maybe new. No, wait a sec, new. What would it do? But they should have some default values. So maybe oh yeah, there's the setf. I mean, I can specify the default here, but this is going to be awkward. This is going to be awkward as hell. Maybe I can store the defaults here, so that when I'm setfing some field, all the other fields are set automatically to those respective defaults. Okay. So maybe I should. There's nothing water, so that's not the XXX already. Yeah. So also default values. Oops. Wait a second. When I am creating a global vector, I am specifying the initial element, which means that oh yeah, okay, so anyway I can access this initial element here, I mean from the global vector, so I don't have to store that anywhere in here. Yeah, that's nice. So use global vector with count index for all arrays, setting next time setting there come on, their respective default values that are initial element. Alright, so at least that's the plan. So if we got positive index, we just access. If we got -1, that means that we still don't have such component in this particular application of that. So then we just setf this the same element, I mean by the same index in every array with their respective defaults. Then we set just this value here for the array that was specified after this setting. Yeah, so this means that all arrays would be kind of synchronized. They will all have the same element count and the same kind of filling. Alright, so that's for the make component. And what does it do inside of here? So this is just the simple one with no bounce checking. So I'm gonna have to use that one, which does bounce checking. So then is grown if necessary. Yeah. And by the way, I think I should also have this version with no bounce checking. So I mean the simple one. Yep, and that's yeah, right. So I'm gonna just define this simple version here, just like this one, but with 3% sign. Yeah. So values, parse array index, array and subscript. So I'm gonna copy that docstring here, so it will access sparse array, index by subscript, access. I mean, it's not the sparse array index per se, it's this array, but yeah, so okay, I will just remove it or just leave it, but comment here. But apparently no one's checking whatsoever. So yeah. And this also and this and what I'm gonna do here. Okay. I wonder how this assembly looks like. Yeah, that's kinda nice. It contains just one branch and a bunch of mobs and one pointer arithmetic here. Why is this mob here? Oh yeah, I think that's the check inside this max. Yeah, that should be. Alright, so this one's nice and I'm gonna use it here. So I'm gonna get the index with no bounds checking. So this means we don't do that. So in this harder version, if we get -1, we grow all of the arrays. So we don't want that in this this fast accessor, I mean setter, but anyway. So we just want to go with the index. Yeah. So I'm gonna just go with setup percent global vector, yeah, and so the global vector and the index. So the global vector would be sparse array index indices in this sparse array index, and the index would be subscript. So that's the what am I set? No, wait a sec. Not set. Yeah. So that's the index. This one, which shouldn't be like -1 or so. So I'm trying to fit a lot of things in my head right now about this macro that would access, I mean build this component thing. Okay, so this would be, we would consider this to be the array index. Wait a sec, so I don't need, I'm not set f, I'm just getting by ref. Okay, so I'm just getting the index, and then I'm using that index to actually set f. this global ref of the array, right, of the array and that index. Yeah, right. It's kind of a very long line. It's kind of 2. Okay, this will do. And I'm set fing that to the value. Yeah. So then I think I'm gonna just put some claims here. So this is obviously in line. This is in line. Sparse array. I'm gonna just copy that. So that's 1, and the function type of that would be what? So how do I? Okay. So the value is t. Then we have sparse array index, which is, well, sparse array index. Then we have the array, which is global array, global vector, and then we have subscript, which is xnum. Well, actually, array index. Yeah. And it returns the very same thing. So here we go. And that is this setup. Wow, that's a long line, a very long line. So here we go. That's the declaration. And that's the implementation. This should be fast and slick. And that's only no bounce checking, no nothing. Come on, what's wrong again? Jesus, what is happening? Okay, so the variable notice happening here. Am I missing the parenthesis? So select here expansion, too few elements. This is file on the list. This was 2 expected, but got 1. Where variable value is defined but not used. I mean, come on, how it is not defined but not used. Oh, set up the value here. Okay, there should be extra parentheses here and parentheses here. Yeah, that's it. So let's just quickly look at its symbol. Okay, I'll just copy that. Okay, so what happens here? There are 2 accesses to that vector, so that's the first one. Why there is? Okay, that's some safety checks. So then the access to a vector, and some safety check again. Then we compare it with what? Yeah, right. We'll just see if that's really array index. Again, the safety check. And then we do some moves here and there, and again some branching. Why? It's weird, but okay. And then just the actual setting here. Yeah, that's kind of nice. If we don't look at the safety checks, this is kind of slick and Nice. Alright, so that's the fast accessor, and then I'm gonna make this slow one, which does bounce checking and grow the arrays when necessary. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do this later, so I think I'm done for today with streaming. Yeah, right. So thank you very much for watching. Come back the next Saturday if you like that. Download and try my game if you like. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching. Take care and goodbye.